if the screen crashes, it's not my fault. I'm hoping the article is popping up. Let me turn this off because it's annoying me. Is it? Is it showing up? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Let me get the thing up. After almost 3 decades of absence, Streets of Rage is making a comeback. I'm not going to read it like that the whole time. Wouldn't that be funny, though? Gameplay, Anthopants, okay. Howling-based game, Ghouls and Ghosts. I don't have Ghouls and Ghosts. Something along those lines. I wish I had something like that. Release date, when is it coming out? It's done when it's done. Alright, stop asking us about it. Okay. The Street 4 is the early stage of development. I don't know. Tell me if you guys can actually see this, otherwise I'm doing this wrong. Also unconfirmed. You also could probably see your chat, which is going to be weird. But anyway, how does it look? Yeah. For gameplay preview. Okay. But I kind of want to see what you guys are saying. You know. Hey mother, I'm in the chat. Yeah, there we go. Look, everyone can see themselves. The internet lost its collective mind when Streets of Rage 4 was announced out of nowhere earlier this year. It was kind of out of nowhere, I gotta admit that. Sega has had the iconic beat-em-up franchise on ice for over 2 decades. Thanks a lot, Sega! Excluding arcade ports to an endless number of systems. Excluding arcade ports? I don't know what that means. Is that what they're supposed to say? Like, that's a weird way of putting it, isn't it? But now a 2.6 is on the way from Lizard, Cube, and Guard Crush Games. Yada, yada, yada. The excellent Wonder Boy. Yeah, okay, Streets of Fury. There's a pedigree behind this sequel that bodes well for something quite worthwhile. While in the early stages of development, I recently sat down with some of the team behind Streets 4 and played through a couple of stages, like boasting a few placeholder assets and missing animations. I had an absolute blast. I don't really. Okay. See, this is my problem. I'm having trouble reading and actually retaining what I'm reading. Team, and played through a couple of stages. Okay, played through a couple of stages actually sounds really good, which means there are a couple of stages, and it means that it is playable. Missing animations. I had an absolute blast. Wow. Okay, that is awesome. And truly, the moment-to-moment action in Streets of Rage 4 is immediately familiar. Playing as either Axel Stone or Blaze Fielding, within seconds you're walking through filthy streets and hurling your fists into fools. Okay? Strikes land with a satisfying impact as enemies remain in place before flying across the stage upon the execution of a combo. That is cool. Strikes land with a satisfying impact. Okay, so it's not like Streets of Rage 3 then, because those strikes don't land with any satisfaction at all, I would say. Okay. You could do better, yeah. I bet you could do better, Fochan. That's what I tell everybody. Every time I read anything. I'm like, Fochan could do better than this. You can also juggle enemies now. Surfacing as the team showcased how long they could keep a gaggle of thugs levitating in the air like punch magicians. That's... Okay, I like that too, because it mixes the gameplay up. Like, we've already played Streets of Rage. Let's play Streets of Rage 4 now. I wasn't nearly as impressive. But even I, a punch apprentice, managed to hurl a few beefier enemies into the air with no issues. It's a small addition, but fleshes out a formula that appears to remain largely faithful to the original series. Okay, that right there doesn't mean anything other than it's a beat 'em up. Because saying it's fleshes out a formula that appears to remain largely faithful to the original series. What the heck does that mean? The 3 games play completely differently. If you've played any beat 'em ups, it's like. Okay, heat moves are another new mechanic jumping into the brawl, lending each character a visual stunning special attack activated with a simple tap of the Y button. Y button? It's going to be a different button on each controller there, buddy. Axe releases an arching fist of fury, covering foes in flames and taking away health. He actually puts them... Does he actually light them on fire? And take away health over time. Blaze, on the other hand, unleashes something... akin to somebody didn't proofread it. Something akin. You could just say something akin to a Hadouken from Street Fighter. Okay, Hadouken. Yeah. This is the old school stuff. So I don't know if the guy actually played this old school stuff. Guy or gal, I don't know who's writing this. The old school stuff has these moves in it. they have these moves in it. This isn't normal stuff. This is the cool thing about, like, being me right now. I know these games so well. Like, I'm not just some, like, person who's like, oh yeah, I played the games a couple times. Like, I know every single stinking move, the timing, you know. There's the benefit of being one of the, if not the best, you know, top, like, 2 players in both Streets 2 and 3. Okay, they're awesome to use, although feel like they're charged up for too frequently to feel special. They're charged up far too frequently to feel special. Yeah, that's because you're playing on normal difficulty, probably. Once you start playing on Mania and you're actually getting hit, which is what I'm assuming, if they have a Mania difficulty, you're going to be getting hit in between doing these moves. And then you're going to have a lot of trouble actually charging it up. You're still playing on noob settings, I'm assuming. I'd rather see light and heavy attacks for chaining together combos with special moves assigned their own individual command. At this early stage, it lacks a deep satisfaction that similar, more modern brawlers possess. Huh? Feel they're charged up far too frequently to feel special. Okay, so they don't feel special because he's using them too much. I'd rather see light and heavy attacks for chaining together combos. Light and heavy attacks for chaining together combos with special moves assigned their own individual command. Special moves assigned their own individual command. Okay. I kind of see what he's saying. He wants this thing to be like an 8, like, you know, kind of like a fighting game where it's like you need 8 buttons now on your arcade stick. Axel's look at big Axel here. Is that, why did they do that? Axel really looks like he's got a beer belly here. Axel drinks Budweiser now. This is another problem with me reading stuff, is that I can't stop adding in my own stuff. I kind of completely disagree with the guy on this one. I don't think we should have a game that has that you can't play with 3 buttons. Streets of Rage 3 you can play perfectly fine with 3 buttons. You can use the 6-button controller, but you don't have to. All the moves are available to you, other than these. Yeah, other than, well, that's not true. But anyway, it's very playable with 3 buttons. That's my point. It's very playable with 3 buttons. Corkscrew plays 3-button on Streets of Rage 3, and he's the best Streets of Rage 3 player that we know of. So, I'm the second best. I'm just going to add that in. Okay, at this early stage, lacks a deep satisfaction that's similar. More modern brawlers possess. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to take this. He likes that stuff. I don't think it would be good, though. I think you can overcomplicate the thing to the point where it's not fun and it's not casual. And then when you go into Mania mode, now it's this overcomplicated, bloated thing that's ridiculous, as opposed to a something that, like, really requires timing and all that other fun stuff that really Streets of Rage 2 and 3 are known for. There is a little bit of variety in combat at the moment, with Supers usable both on the ground and in the air. Supers are usable on the ground and the air? What does he consider the super, though? Is that the special? The super's usable. What is the heck is a super? No, hold on. I want to see what he actually says. Simple tab. Stunning special attack. Okay, so a super is different than a special attack? Is that what I can take from this guy? I don't know. Although the timing window on the latter still needs a bit of work, I was warned that much of the music and sound effects were placeholder assets, not representative of the finished product. The fact that this guy got to play the game makes me so jealous. The soundtrack is yet to be properly composed. I almost read proudly there. This is another problem with being dyslexic. I just assume what words are, and then I actually have to slow myself down and actually read what the actual word is. Many fans worried that industry legend Kuzo Kishiro won't return for the 4th entry. I was told that the developers would be among more on this in the future. Keen to stress that the studio is still busy prototyping new features that will expand upon the formula of clobbering bad guys and moving purposefully to the right. Purposefully to the right, that's funny. One frustration with the entire game is that, hey look, there's somebody's head. We can see somebody's head there. You guys see the head? One frustration with the entire game is the way in which enemies will disappear off screen if punched into a corner. That's like... That's like, I mean, every single beat 'em up ever is like that. Yeah, like, you have to maintain your screen. Yeah, I don't know. Well, not that this guy hasn't played, I'm not saying that. But when there's certain things that people say where I'm like, you're you're somebody who's played, like, you played, I don't know, you found out you were going to do Streets of Rage, and then you put the games on, and you played all 3, like, once. You probably didn't beat the games. And now you're noticing, like, on Streets of Rage 4 that it's frustrating, you know, that enemies will disappear off screen if punched into a corner. So, yeah, if you punch guys, anyway, having damage dealt by a threat you can't even see is an obvious annoyance, and Streets of Rage 4 remedies this completely. Oh! I needed to read this before I started talking. Now I sound foolish. As a result, it can be a little too easy stun-locking enemies into oblivion once caught in a corner, as they can no longer be knocked off screen at all. They can't be knocked off screen. I don't know if I like this. This is very anti-beat-em-up. Maintaining your screen is one of the biggest things about Streets of Rage. I'm gonna mainly be talking about 2 and 3, since those are the games that I am like a top player at. But in Streets of Rage 2 and 3, maintaining your screen is part of the game. It's a huge strategy aspect of the game, which means you're flipping yourself around within hitboxes to keep enemies on screen. That's a strategic move. I don't know how I feel about the fact that you can't knock enemies off screen in Streets of Rage 4. It's going to completely change the strategy aspect. It could be a good thing, though. It could be too easy stun-locking enemies to oblivion once they get caught in a corner. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's why you knock guys off screen. That's why there's sections that have borders, like 4 elevator, for instance, because they're so difficult. You need that border to stun lock guys. I mean, that's an intentional thing. They're completely taking away a aspect of the game that is, I don't know. It's tough because I haven't played it, but I think it's actually an essential aspect of the game. And I mean, I'm hoping they actually get rid of that, but maybe I'm wrong about it. This guy's never played a beat 'em up with a commitment. Yeah, stink on him. I'm kind of agreeing with that, Phochan. You can kind of tell when you're reading it that he's casual to an extreme. He's casual. Okay. Taking what I assume as a cue from Bloodborne, the game emphasizes aggression by allowing you to regain lost health with the use of a secondary gauge below. Is that one of the Dark Souls games? Below your health bar, I think so. This faint green gauge rewards you for laying a smackdown on foes before they have a chance to deal further damage, will result in you earning back lost life energy. It's a cool idea and could really shine once combat is expanded. Okay, weapons, wider environments, and more concrete narrative are all intended to feature in Streets of Rage 4, but the brief build I played through as both characters showcase no such inclusion. See, I didn't even, weapons, wider environment, more concrete narrative are all intended to feature. Okay, so there's no weapons in what he played. It's because it's very early on. These people actually need to put this game in my hands. I would say, I do think Corkscrew would be a better person than me, though. But they need to put the game, I think, in one of the better players' hands to actually see how the game is playing. That being said, the foundations on display here are an infectious joy teasing a beat 'em up. I'm very keen to see completed. Oh, they're teasing. Yeah, okay. Since it's such early days, it's hard to put my finger on how Streets of Rage 4 will end up. Lizard Cube and Guard Crush Games have an astounding legacy to live up to, and they told me they're determined to honor it with putting their own spin on things. Okay. This isn't a remake, it's a sequel. That's what I like about it. It immediately sounds like a sequel. It doesn't sound like a remake. Good job. And they plan to make that perfectly clear with much more than a fresh coat of paint, regardless of how supremely gorgeous it happens to be. Nice. What's recommended for me? Oh, look at that. Apple, iPhones. Apple iPhones. No, I'm joking. Thanks for the recommendation. You guys don't know me at all. I like Android. Put the game in the hands of a professional. Yeah, casual to the extreme. This is, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what... let's put Road Rash back on. I want to play a little Road Rash. What happens with the game? Tell me this. Tell me this didn't just do something weird. Oh, it's because it's full screen, and I don't usually have it in full screen. Okay, that's why. Thank you. Yeah, okay. It's impossible to really get a sense of, like, you know, the game for... Yeah, proofreading. They needed a little bit more proofreading on it. That's for sure. Because of the juggling mechanic. That might be true. Is why they did that. Once again, though, if your juggling mechanic is really good, you should be able to, kind of like in Fight and Rage, you can juggle guys, hit them up in the air, and then actually switch sides if you're fast enough. Like you're hitting a guy, boom, he goes up in the air, then you're running, and then whipping around, and now you're hitting a guy and you're flipping a guy back and forth, but you're maintaining your screen. Maybe their juggling mechanic just works in such a way that that's not possible.